Giuseppe Castiglione, S.J., was an Italian Jesuit lay brother and a missionary in China, where he served as an artist at the imperial court of three emperors, the Kangxi, Yongzheng and Qianlong emperors. He painted in a style that is a fusion of European and Chinese traditions. Early life. Castiglione was born in Milan's San Marcellino district on 19 July 1688. He was educated at home with a private tutor, then a common practice among wealthy families. He also learned to paint under the guidance of a master. In 1707, he entered the Society of Jesus in Genoa aged 19. Although a Jesuit, he was never a priest. Rather, he was a lay brother. Works, paintings. In the late 17th century, a number of European Jesuit painters served in the king court of the Kangxi emperor, who was interested in employing European Jesuits trained in various fields, including painting. In the early 18th century, the Jesuits in China made a request for a painter to be sent to the imperial court in Beijing. Castiglione was identified as a promising candidate and he accepted the post. In 1710, on the way to Lisbon, he passed through Coimbra, where he stayed for several years to decorate the chapel of St. Francis Borgia in the Church of the Novitiate, today the new Cathedral of Coimbra. He painted several panels in the chapel and a circumcision of Jesus for the main altar of the same church. In August 1715, Castiglione arrived in Macau, China, and reached Beijing later in the year. He stayed at a Jesuit church called St. Joseph Mission or Eastern Hall in Chinese. He was presented to the Kangxi emperor, who viewed his painting of a dog. Another source said a bird was also painted on the spot on Kangxi's request. He was assigned a few disciples, however he initially placed to work as an artisan in the palace enameling workshop. While in China, Castiglione took the name Langshining. Castiglione adapted his Western painting style to Chinese themes and taste. His earliest surviving painting created in such style was from the first year of Yongzheng's reign in 1723. He was permitted to leave the enamel workshop by Yongzheng as it was affecting his eyesight. Although Castiglione was favored by Yongzheng, who commissioned a number of works by him, Yongzheng's reign was a difficult period for Jesuits as Christianity was suppressed and those missionaries not working for the emperor were expelled. His skill as an artist was appreciated by the Qianlong emperor, and Castiglione served the emperor for 3 decades and was granted increasingly higher official rank within the king court. He spent many years in the court painting various subjects, including the portraits of the emperor and empress. Qianlong showed particularly interest in paintings of tribute horses presented to emperor, on which Castiglione painted a series. In 1765, Castiglione and other Jesuit painters also created a series of battle copper prints, commissioned by the emperor to commemorate his military campaigns. Small-scale copies of his paintings were shipped to Paris and rendered into engravings with etching before being returned to China. A series of 16 prints by Castiglione and his contemporaries Jean-Denis Attired, Ignatius Sichelbart and Jean-Damascene Sallusti were created in this way. Architecture. In addition to his skill as a painter, he was also in charge of designing the Western-style palaces in the imperial gardens of the Old Summer Palace. The project was initiated by Qianlong in 1747 in a garden once used by Yongzheng, with the construction of European-styled palaces and gardens, aviaries, a maze, and perspective paintings organized as an outdoor theatrical stage, as well as fountains and waterworks designed by Michel Benoist. Castiglione also created trompe-l'oeil paintings on the walls of the palaces. The buildings, however, were destroyed in 1860 during the Second Opium War. Castiglione died in Beijing on 17 July 1766. Style and techniques. Castiglione's style was a unique blend of European and Chinese compositional sensibility, technique and themes. Western style was adjusted to suit Chinese taste. For example, strong shadows used in chiaroscuro techniques were unacceptable in portraiture, as the Qianlong emperor thought that shadows looked like dirt. Therefore, when Castiglione painted the emperor, the intensity of the light was reduced so that there was no shadow on the face, and the features were distinct. Emperors also preferred to have the portraits painted full face with a frontal posture. The royal portraits are therefore usually painted in such a manner. The paintings were done on silk, and unlike Western painting where mistake can be reworked, brushwork on silk is almost impossible to be removed, therefore requires careful and precise painting. The painting needed to be worked out in detail beforehand, which Castiglione did in a preparatory drawing on paper before he traced the design onto silk. An example is the most important early work by Castiglione, 100 Horses in a Landscape, for which the preparatory drawings survive. It was painted in 1728 for the Yongzheng emperor. Some of the horses are in their flying gallop pose, which had not been done before by European painters. The painting was executed using tempera on silk in the form of a Chinese hand scroll of nearly 8 meters in length. It was largely done in European style in accordance with the rules of perspective and with a consistent light source. However, the dramatic chiaroscuro shading typical of Baroque paintings is reduced and there are only traces of shadow under the hooves of the horses. Castiglione was assisted in his paintings by a number of court painters. For example, in the painting Deer Hunting Patrol, he would be responsible for painting the portraits of the emperor and other officials on horseback, other members of the hunting party. The trees and landscape, however, would be painted by other court painters in a Chinese style that is distinctly different from Castiglione's. Legacy. Due to Castiglione's working court paintings began to show a clear Western influence. Other European painters followed and a new school of painting was created that combined Chinese and Western methods. The influence of Western art on the king court paintings is particularly evident in the light, shade, perspective, as well as the priority given to recording contemporary events. In 2005, Castiglione became the subject of the television series Palace Artist in China, played by famed Canadian Chinese actor Dashan, and broadcast by China's Central Television. Gallery. Bibliography. Robert Le, Giuseppe Castiglione Pittere di Corte di Qianlong, Imperator della Cina. George Robert Le, European artists at the Chinese court in the westward influence of the Chinese arts from the 14th to the 18th century. Ed. William Watson, Colloquies on Art and Archaeology in Asia. No. 3. 333-42. Joseph Dehaene, Répertoire des Jésuites de Chine de 1552 à 1895. Willard Peterson, Learning from Heaven. The Introduction of Christianity and Other Western Ideas into Late Ming China in the Cambridge History of China. Ed. Dennis Twitchett and Frederick W. Mote. 15 vols. 8 to 799-839. Cécile Beurdelet and Michel Beurdelet. Giuseppe Castiglione, a Jesuit painter at the court of the Chinese emperors. Hongxing, ed. The Qianlong Emperor. Treasures from the Forbidden City. Evelyn Rafsky and Jessica Rawson. China, The Three Emperors 1662-1795. John W. O'Malley al. eds. The Jesuits, Cultures, Sciences, and the Arts 1540-1773. Hawaii Cam. ed. 8 Dynasties of Chinese Painting. The collections of the Nelson Gallery at Kunst Museum, Kansas City, and the Cleveland Museum of Art. 355. Memoria Postuma Fratris Giuseppe Castiglione, Bras. 28 ff. 92 r. 93 v. Archivum Romanum Societas IESU, Rome. Georg Prey, ed. Impostri CCX VIII. In Dissertatione RP Benedicto Seto. Clerici Regularici Scholas PIIs Descenentium Importuris Detectae Convulsae. Excedunt Epistolae Anecdota RP Augustini e Commodibus Halestein ex China Scriptae. Marco Musillo, La Famiglia Giuseppe Castiglione. Marco Musillo, Les Pensions Genoises de Giuseppe Castiglione. Michel Barizzoli Tisa Stevens. Giuseppe Castiglione 1688–1766. Penta e Architecte e la Cordicina 18–25. Marco Musillo, Bridging Europe and China, The Professional Life of Giuseppe Castiglione. Terzi di Dotturato. Marco Musillo, Reconciling Two Careers, The Jesuit Memoir of Giuseppe Castiglione, lay brother and king imperial painter, in 18th-century studies, Volume 42, No. 1 pp. 45–59. Antonio Franco, Synopsis Annalium Societatis Jesu in Lusitania ab anno 1540 uscat annum 1725. 441. Imagem da virtù demonoviciado da Compagnia de Jesus de Real Collegio do Espiritu Santo de Rivora. 57. Relazioni scritta da Monsignor Vescovo di Pechino Alpi Giuseppe Ceru, in ordine alla pubblicazione de Decreti Apostolici, Ms. 1630 ff. 146 r. 152 vf. 149 r. Biblioteca Casanatense, Rome. Copy manoscritto di vari scritti del servo di Dio Matteo Ripa, Cineri Regni Adiacenti Miscellanea 16 f. 21 art. 26 December 1715 APF, Roma. Jangboda, The Development of the Qianlong Painting Academy, in Words and Images, ed. Alfreda Merkin Wen Si Fong, 333–56, 345. George Robert Le, Giuseppe Castiglione, Dizionario Biografico degli Italiani, 22–92–94, 93. Father Jean Sylvain Oivial Relay Sauda Jornada, que Fezo Imperio da China, y su Mamria Noticia da Embexada, que dio Narcor Picam Mo Primero de Mayo de 1753, O Senhor Francisco Xavier C. Pacheco y Sampaio, 8. Edward J. Malatesta and Gao Jiu, eds. Departed, yet present. Yilan, the oldest Christian cemetery in Beijing. 217. Le Jufu, a documentary chronicle of Sino-Western relations. 2 vols. 1–188–89. Ashida Mikonosuke, a biographical study of Giuseppe Castiglione, a Jesuit painter in the court of Peking under the Qing dynasty. Memoirs of the Research Department of the Toyo Bunko, No. 1979–121, 88–90. Lang Shining Shaozhuan in Gagongbo Yuan Yuan Kan N. 2, 1988, pp. 3–26, 91–95. Amy Acute Martin, M.L. Lettre edifiante curieuses concernant l'Afrique et l'Amérique, avec quelques relations nouvelles des missions, et des notes géographiques et historiques, Paris 1838–1843, Volume 2, 3, IV. Burgli, C.M. Castiglione, Penta Jesuit La Cordicina, Fribourg 1971. Chaya A. Une description tibétaine de Yuan Mingyuan in le Yuan Mingyuan. Judo et palais européens du XVIE à la cour de Chine, Paris 1987. Cheng, T.K. Chinese Nature Painting in Renditions, N. 9, Spring 1978, pp. 5-29. Durand A. Restitution des palais européens du Yuan Mingyuan in Arts Asiatiques, Volume XLIII 1988, pp. 123-133. Hujin Lang Pardzoli M. Les Chasses de Automne de l'Empire Qianlong à Milan in Tung Pao, Volume LXV 1-3, pp. 13-50. Hugger, C.A. Dictionary of Official Titles in Imperial China, Stanford 1985. Jonathan P. Durant A. Le Promenade Occidental de l'Empire Qianlong in le Yuan Mingyuan. Judo et palais européens du XVIE à la cour de Chine, Paris 1987, pp. 19-33. Du de Yuan Tianji Dingqiong, King Gongtong Huajie Lang Shining, in Gagongbo Yuan Yuan Kan N. 2, 1988, pp. 27-28. Cow-making M. China's Response to the West Art, 1898-1937, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 1972. Lettres fiantes curieuses, Écrits des missions étranges, Nouvelle Edition, Paris 1781, Volume 22, 23, 24. Lupin San, Wama Hilang Shining, Bargento in Gagongbo Yuan Yuan Kan N. 2, 1988, pp. 88-90. Ni Yongzheng, Lang Shining, Beijing 1984.